Good morning to all of you that are listening to me on this beautiful day. I am so grateful and so thankful for all of the many blessings that has been handed down to all of us. I always like to say that God has been good to us, one way or the other. I am just so happy and so glad to see a beautiful day. Of course, you know that we've had a lot of ice and snow. We've had a lot of bad weather here in the Atlanta area, South Carolina, North Carolina regions, and further on up north. But I am so grateful and I am so thankful to be able to say that God brought us through that, and He's able to take us through the next storm or whatever come our way. I am so glad to be here with you again. If this is your first time, well, I welcome you to Tristone Ministries. I try to do some videos in my spare time, in my travel. I'll be traveling a lot. I'm on the go. There's a lot of things going on with Tristone Ministries, with the staff, volunteer staff as well, and so many other things that are going with my engagements and revivals. And usually when I make a video, I'm on the road going somewhere or coming from somewhere. But nevertheless, I am so glad and so grateful that God has allowed us to be together again. In case you don't know, my motto, He blessed me once, He blessed me twice. He's been blessing me all of my life. I am just so happy and so glad about that. And He will do the same for you. I was thinking on earlier, I should say late last night, about the importance of forgiveness. Forgiveness is very important for us as the believer of Christ. And even if you're not a believer of Christ, it's still important to be able to forgive and forget. Forgiveness is not for the other party. It is for me. It is for you. And if you remember, there is a scripture that have been quoted and that is in the Bible that are always saying, pray for them that despitefully use you. In my words, I always say, pray for them that, backbite you, that lie on you, say things about you that's not true. And my father had a saying to say, whatever people say, just don't allow it to be true. And I can bear witness to that. And people will say things about you. They will say things to other people to cause conflict. But even in the midst of that, you must have, as a believer, you must have a forgiving spirit, a forgiving kind of spirit. That is very important to us as a believer of Christ, and as well as a person in general as well. So don't forget, in 2014, whatever somebody have done to you, forgive them. And once you forgive that individual, you can move on with your life. God will bless you and take you to another level, another dimension in Him. And that is the most important thing. I find out it's not the thoughts and the saying of others that affect your walk with Christ. It's the thoughts within yourself determine your attitude with Jesus the Christ. Always remember, it's important to ask God for a forgiving spirit. And my father used to also say as well, when there's a fire, you don't put more wood on that fire to get it to go out. You either pour some water on it. In other words, I always like to say, you just stand still and allow God to work it out. I find out in the last 7 to 10 years, all of my so-called enemies and people that don't like me or say mean things about me, whether it's true or not, I find out the best way to handle that, don't do what the oppressor do unto you. Don't use the same equipment of fighting back to an individual that fight you. Because in the longer run, you won't profit anything from that. I find out when I just be still and hold my peace and allow the Lord, King Jesus, to fight my battle, I always come out victoriously. And for a prime example, let me tell you, I remember some years ago, I've had some folk, maybe 15, 20 years ago, and some since that, was saying a lot of evil and mean things about me and trying to discredit me with other people. But the Lord spoke to me one morning and said, don't worry about them folk that's talking about you. You love them. You pray for them. Don't fight them back. Don't do nothing. Don't say nothing negative about them. When you hear people say something bad about you, you hold your head up high and do what I have commissioned you to do. And I'll take you to a higher height and deeper depth in Him. And let me tell you, some of the people 15, 20 years ago that were against me, started off fighting me or saying some negative things that wasn't true. Some were true and some wasn't true. But those same people came back to me and had me to pray for them. They didn't even know that I knew some of the things that they were saying. I never confronted them. Some preachers, some lay members, some unsaved folk, as we call them. I never confronted them. And I will not confront folk. I don't confront people today about anything negative they got to say about me. Because I find out, if you can get one yes from God and 1,000 no's from mankind, the only thing that matters is that one yes from God. So like I always say, hold your head up high. Don't worry about folk that talk about you. Let them talk. Just like my father always say, don't allow it to be true. And hold your head up high and go on and do what God has commissioned you to do. And I guarantee you, you'll see the results. Have a blessed day. Have a good week. And hopefully we'll see you soon. I'll see you in the next video. God bless you. Thank you.